All right, I'll see you
Is this
guys
all
down at
crazy
City
or
Hall.
what? Is this the worst allegation you've heard so far?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most surprising, weirdest, and outrageous scandals involving political figures around the world.
He says he was just horsing around, but pulling a woman's ponytail is proving highly embarrassing for the Prime Minister.
Sylvio Berlusconi's Bunga parties.
In Italy, sex, politics, and Hollywood are taking center stage.
The late Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi was involved in plenty of scandals, gaffes, and controversies during and after his time in office. But one absurd and outrageous scandal looms large, and it can be summed up with the same word repeated twice: Bunga. Berlusconi was charged and convicted for having allegedly paid for sexual services for underage Moroccan prostitute Ruby Rubacuori, whom he also supposedly released from police custody. Rubacuori claimed that Berlusconi had invited her to sex parties where the participants engaged in African-inspired bunga dances in the nude.
Mr. Berlusconi always insisted that these were elegant parties in good taste, but certainly the details that have come out during this trial point to something quite the opposite.
Although Berlusconi successfully appealed his sentence, the Italian press and the internet will never forget this headline-worthy scandal. Scott Morrison's alleged accident.
Scott Morrison's office has put out a statement.
Sometimes a rumor takes on a life of its own. Since 2018, an urban myth has sprung up about former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. The story goes that following the loss of the Cronulla Sharks rugby team in the grand final in 1997, Morrison defecated in his pants at a McDonald's restaurant, or Macca's as they say down under.
It is the biggest urban myth ever.
So it's not even true.
That you pooed your pants at the Engadine McDonald's?
It's complete and utter rubbish. I found the whole thing incredibly amusing.
The hilarious rumor spread faster than Vegemite on toast across Australia, and the Engadine Macca's in question even has a plaque to commemorate the event. However, both Morrison and the rumor's progenitor, musician Rowan Dix, aka Joyride, have denied any truth to the myth.
He was just posting. Quite literally.
Tractorgate.
Sheepish. Probably the best word to describe Neil Parish.
In 2022, British Conservative MP Neil Parish was accused by a group of female colleagues of having watched pornography in the House of Commons. Initially, Parish alleged that he may have viewed the erotica by mistake.
Is this embarrassing?
Of course it's embarrassing, and it's embarrassing for my wife and family.
However, he later claimed to have reached the pornographic material after trying to view a site about tractors. Parish eventually owned up to looking at the porn on purpose a second time.
My biggest crime is that on another occasion I went in a second time.
And that was deliberately?
And that was deliberate.
And the resulting scandal led to his resignation. Mixing tractors of all things with a porn scandal was bound to pull everyone's attention. Spanish mayor done for drunk biting. The COVID-19 lockdowns drove everybody a little crazy, but this scandal was especially wild. During 2020, Spain imposed strict curfews to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Alex Pastor, mayor of Badalona, was arrested after violating the curfew in April. He also refused to take a breathalyzer test and bit one of the arresting officers. Naturally, Pastor was arrested for drunk driving and assault and resigned his position. The Spanish press had a field day with the incident, comparing Pastor to Hannibal Lecter. But that's hardly fair. To Hannibal, a drunk bite on the side of the road? The guy had more class than that.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
The Thorp affair.
He was a man who wouldn't let anything stand in his way.
Homosexuality was a contentious topic in the UK, namely because it was considered a criminal offence until 1967. That's why, when Liberal Party leader Jeremy Thorp became embroiled in this scandal and a subsequent trial, it was a massive deal. Norman Joseph, aka Norman Scott, alleged that he had been in a relationship with the married Thorp during the 60s. Not only that, but Thorp had apparently enacted a clumsy conspiracy to have Scott murdered to ensure his silence, with the hitman instead killing his dog. Despite Thorp and his conspirators going to trial, an infamously less than objective judge and jury acquitted them all. Thorp may have gone free, but his political career was effectively destroyed by the court of public opinion.
The jury decided that he was not guilty, and those of us who'd worked with him
could not do anything else but accept the jury's verdict. I mean, that's the way the system worked.
John Key pulls ponies.
He says he was just horsing around, but pulling a woman's ponytail is proving highly embarrassing for the Prime Minister.
In 2015, New Zealand's Prime Minister John Key came under fire in this very unusual scandal. A waitress disclosed that Key had pulled her ponytail repeatedly, and by repeatedly we mean on many different occasions over several months. Key also tried to smooth things over with a gifted bottle of Pinot Noir.
She said he told her her ponytail was tantalising.
When I realised she took offence by that, I just immediately went back, gave her some wine, apologised, said I was terribly sorry.
Sure, Kiwis probably weren't too enthused that their head of government had the exact level of maturity as a schoolboy on a playground, but on behalf of the international community, we'd just like to say it's objectively funny.
My conduct clearly upset the staff member in question. I sincerely apologise to her at the time. I became aware of that, and I've continued to do so publicly.
J.D. Vance and the couch.
I do not love humping couches. My Mima would not approve.
Look, 2024 was a rough year in politics for America. But one moment of levity happened beginning in July, when a tweet sparked an absolutely hysterical rumor. The story went that then vice presidential candidate and later vice president J.D. Vance got intimate with a couch. On attempts to fact-check the rumor by the Associated Press, and later its retraction of that fact-check drew more attention to it. Vance's alleged furniture relations sparked widespread parodies on late-night and variety shows, and even his political opponents referenced it on the campaign trail.
I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up.
To paraphrase Stephen Colbert, it doesn't matter that it probably isn't true, because it was hilarious just how easy it is to imagine him doing it.
We called his campaign office to ask him if he the couch, and they hung up on us, which isn't a no.
John Stonehouse's disappearance.
John was a new breed of politician, perfectly at home in front of the cameras.
An ex-UK MP, John Stonehouse had many things to hide, including some creative accounting and the fact that he was a spy for Czechoslovakia. Stonehouse decided to start afresh by faking his own death. He did so by leaving some folded clothes behind on a beach in Miami, Florida.
Initially, there was a certain element of disbelief that, in fact, he had either drowned or had been taken by a shark.
Stonehouse's plan to run off to Australia with his mistress and embezzled money hit a snag when a bank teller alerted the Australian police about his using multiple names on his accounts. When Stonehouse was arrested, he had to drop his pants to prove he wasn't a different British politician, Lord Lucan, who'd also disappeared shortly before, following the murder of his kid's nanny.
Lord Lucan was probably the most wanted man in the world, and it looked like he just turned up in Melbourne.
Lucan had a thigh scar. It's less weird in context, but only slightly. Rob Ford in general.
First, it was denial.
I do not use crack cocaine, nor am I an addict.
6 months later, confession.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
Imagine if Chris Farley had held elected office. Well, Rob Ford is like that times 1,000. Toronto, Canada's late former mayor was like a walking, talking parody, and the country, and indeed the world, could not look away. Ford's 4 years as mayor were rife with scandals, from domestic disturbances at his home to the guy making lewd remarks about his own wife on camera. However, arguably the coup de grace was the reveal of a video in 2013 of Ford doing crack cocaine.
He would keep his silence, refusing to explain anything.
Mayor Ford, is this
legal action? All right, I'll see you guys
all
down at
crazy
City
or
Hall.
what? Is this the worst allegation you've heard so far?
Ford was relieved of most of his duties as mayor for the rest of his term, but not before a second video of him doing crack emerged. People who say Canada is boring don't know what the hell they're talking about.
These mistakes will never, ever, ever happen again.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into settings and switch on your notifications. #Piggate. UK prime ministers have faced some scandalous accusations, but few reach this level of strangeness. In 2015, an unauthorized biography of former British Prime Minister David Cameron was released. The book contains an unsubstantiated anecdote that during the initiation for a dining club, Cameron put his privates inside the mouth of a dead pig.
I mean, what are the benefits of joining this club? What do you get, 10% off sports equipment?
If that sounds weird enough to be an episode of Black Mirror, that's because it's basically the plot of that show's very first episode. While this is probably yet another example of a wild rumor taking on a life of its own, the alleged porcine necrophilia is both disturbing and funny enough that nobody could stop talking about it. Some newsreaders certainly tried and failed.
There's plenty of these things, and everyone goes around saying, oh, it's about a pig when he was 20. Well, how about being really appalling when he was 50?
Is there a crazy political scandal we forgot? Pull your favorites in the comments.
I just love a couch that you can sink into, you know? Platonically.